This is Music, and this is a very Welsh edition of First Impressions. Welcome to another episode of First Impressions. In these videos I normally share with you my first impressions of the many blind buys I've picked up over the last couple of years. However, in the spring and summer of 2023 I was lucky enough to receive a whole bunch of awesome VCLTs. So I'm currently following up on them in my first impressions videos. And in this video, I will follow up on an awesome VCLT I got from none other than the legend Rock and Metal Plus. Check out his channel. If you love physical music media collecting content, that's the channel for you, especially if you're into metal, all sorts of metal, but also like gothic rock and punk rock and classic rock. And if you like your vinyl, if you like your cassettes and your CDs, check out that channel. It's an awesome channel. He's also just an awesome guy, a really good guy. So check out that channel, Rock and Metal Plus. So I received this awesome VCLT from him, containing some vinyl, some cassettes, and some CDs. And musically, we basically go from classic rock to black metal. So lots of diversity there. So let's start with the cassette tapes. Up first, Gore Shriek's Post-Apocalyptic Mutations. It's out on the legendary Cryptic Blood label, known for the packaging for their cassettes being art in itself. I mean, here, for example, you have an awesome print on the cassette shell itself. It's the kind of Toxic Avenger looking mutant here. So musically, this is death metal, but I would say it's very grindy death metal. The songs are very short. You have lots of blasty parts, and the vocals are gargly, guttural growls. And you have what sounds like sound bites from horror movies or monster movies or war movies or something, as introductions to the songs. It's a very short release, so if you need your extreme metal fix and you don't have a lot of time, it's a perfect type of release to just, listen to. So that's great. Very enjoyable. You have some straightforward old school death metal riffs. You have some more grindy riffs in the blasty sections, and then you have some heavier parts that might be inspired by Autopsy or something like that. So it's a very good short, sharp shock of a listen. The only gripe I have is that I think the drums are programmed, and that's about it. It's a very enjoyable extreme metal listen. Up next is Zelder, and it's called Metal de Gore Shriek. Or something along the lines of that. I don't speak Welsh. It's Welsh black metal, very punky in my opinion. I get vibes from the likes of Celtic Frost here, and the vocals and the music is just full of attitude. The vocals are more like shouted, angry shouts, I would say, than your shrieky and screechy black metal vocals. It's quite riff based, and a lot of the riffs do have a punk rock feel to them as well. I don't know if I'm completely wrong here. That's just a vibe I get. And the lyrics also have a lot of attitude that is kind of punky. The fourth track is called Cunt, which I think is an insult that's used quite often in Welsh culture. An interesting detail is that it's a one-man project, and apparently the person behind the band was arrested on false charges of arson, I think, just because of a t-shirt that he had produced for, merch for his project. So sometimes quite often actually. I think law enforcement, they kind of pull the trigger a bit too quickly, if you know what I mean. Anyways, great stuff if you like your more punky variety of black metal. I found it very enjoyable. Up next, Crypt Rot, and it's called An Ancient Summoning on this very cool purple shell. So this is brutal death metal. It's slam death metal, and so you have your slam riffs. You have a lot of really fast blasty parts, and I think actually musically I quite enjoyed this. Slam death metal is a genre that normally doesn't do a whole lot for me, because quite often I think it gets a bit ridiculous because they just go overboard with the slam riffs. But here it's nicely balanced. You got some slam riffs, you got some more straight up death metal stuff going on, really fast blast beats and all that stuff. So the musical part of it I quite enjoyed. The vocals were a bit of a challenge. They did go into pig squealing territory. Not a whole lot, but just pressing the boundaries a bit. But apart from that, a very enjoyable listen that kind of reminded me that there is slam death metal out there which is not watered down, if you know what I mean. That's the case here. This is not watered down. So if you like your slam death metal, you don't have a problem with the pig squealing kind of vocals, this should be your cup of tea. This is a release I will listen to every now and then and enjoy it. Okay, moving on to the CDs. From black metal and death metal and grindy death metal to classic rock, Fish of Marillion fame. And this one is called Songs from the Mirror. And it's Fish doing cover versions of classic rock songs. You got Ape Man on here. For example, there is Boston Tea Party. There is a very nice version of I Know What I Like by Genesis, which is interesting, right? Because Fish's voice has a bit, has some qualities that are similar to those of Peter Gabriel. So, it's the perfect song for him to cover. So this is a nice chill classic rock release. Some of it is more progressive, featuring Fish's vocals. So yeah, this is very enjoyable. Kind of a contrast to all the black and death metal, like this, for example, Voros Malignancy. This is death metal. It's technical death metal and this cool kind of gatefold thing. Technical death metal, I wouldn't say that it's brutal death metal. Very often, like brutal death metal and technical death metal, they kind of converge, like in Suffocation's music and stuff. This is more like technical death metal, along the lines of, but not as technical, I would say, as Obscura and stuff like that. Very good stuff. I quite enjoyed listening to this. Nice riffs on here, impressive guitar work, the drumming. I like the vocals. They are, of course, extreme metal vocals. They're not super guttural growls. They're more somewhere in between growls and screams, maybe, if you know what I mean. And it's a nice 4-track release. Very enjoyable stuff. I quite liked this one as well. So there you go. Up next, Get Some and Then You Die. So this is hardcore punk, and I would say quite metallic hardcore. So think Agnostic Front, for example. Yeah, good stuff. I enjoyed this very much. Agnostic Front, maybe Propane fans, I think they might enjoy this. Relatively short, angry songs with your, hardcore, punkish riffage. and you know, just good stuff. I really enjoyed listening to this too. Nice energy to the songs as well. So there you go. And so now we've had black metal, we've had three different types of death metal. We've had hardcore punk, we've had classic rock, and now we have sludge metal, Diesel King, and it's called Concrete Burial, with, I think it's Riddick artwork on here, as far as I am informed. Pretty cool digipack here. Normally, I don't really like sludge metal. I mean, I don't have a problem with it. I don't have a problem with people that like it. It's just not my cup of tea, because quite often it gets too sludgy, if you know what I mean. Noisy chords, and it's heavy but lacks the atmosphere of doom metal, and the vocals are quite often the kind of hardcore style harsh vocals. But this is different. It's sludge metal, it's heavy, it has its doomy parts, it also has its fast hardcore parts. Prone to Destroy and The Mutilation, those songs have some up-tempo hardcore punk parts. I really like the riffs on here, and I also like the guitar tone. The guitar tone is tight. There's not a whole lot of noise and feedback and stuff on here, which I really appreciate. And I also really like the vocals, because the vocals are more deathy. They're like death metal vocals. So to me, this is almost like sludge death metal, if you know what I mean. I really like the songs. They're very tight, very well put together, great drumming as well. I think let's just see here, because we have, Bill Jacobs is the drummer. So there is a human playing the drums here. But yeah, very good stuff, reminding me that there is some sludge metal out there that is for me. Diesel King is one of those artists. And the last CD is this one here, is Britna's, and it's called The Forest Howls at Dusk. Black metal. This is more of the tremolo picking, shrieky vocals with lots of reverb, so they become almost kind of not instrumental, almost kind of atmospheric is what I'm trying to say. And blasty, black metal style blast beat parts, tremolo picking, and then you have kind of flutes and stuff on top of it. And this is awesome. I really enjoyed listening to this. It's melodic but melancholic. It's dark and cold, but still kind of inviting and compelling in a way. This is probably the highlight, or at least one of the highlights of this VCLT. I really enjoyed this. Great stuff. Darkly melancholic and darkly melodic black metal, and very nice stuff. Also very interesting contrast between this and the Zelda one. I enjoyed both of them. They both deal with Welsh topics and stuff, but they're very different in style, and I quite appreciate that about black metal. It's its own universe with its own very different subgenres. Anyways, great stuff here. I really enjoyed this. Black metal fans certainly should check this one out as well. So from that, let's move on to the vinyl. And again, there will be a change in style. So this is Crunch House, and it's a compilation of indie rock, I would say alternative rock, kind of late 80s, early 90s-ish alternative rock. And one of the labels that's involved is Sub Pop. So a lot of this is maybe also kind of like proto-grunge in a way. It's more noisy and murky and punky than a lot of grunge rock would be. So very interesting listen. The only band that I knew of on here, but I'm not an expert on this style of music, that was Mudhoney. But you got Tad, Halo of Flies, Helios Creed, Boss Hog, some other bands on here too. So yeah, alternative rock, alternative hard rock, maybe proto grunge, a bit of sludge as well, sludge rock though, and some noise rock. So a very interesting listen. This is not something I normally seek out, and that's one of the cool things about VCLTs, that you'll be given some stuff that you wouldn't have considered picking up on your own. Okay, another change in style. This is Wrathchild UK, and it's The Biz Sucks, but we don't care. So this is light-hearted, sleazy-ish hard rock. It's almost like bordering on hard rock and classic rock. The band, they have a very kind of glam, sleaze, Motley Crue kind of image, but musically, just so you can see it, musically it doesn't sound a whole lot like your I guess classic or legendary glam metal bands. There's a bit of that for sure, but yeah, it's lighthearted, fun-loving, sleazy hard rock, classic rock, maybe with a glam image, and very enjoyable, very nice listen. You have some nice, just classic rock riffs, and I actually like the guitar tone. I don't know if it's a result of this being a picture disc from back in the day, but there's a kind of a round, warm feel to the guitar tone, which I appreciate. So this is the kind of album that's just nice to listen to if you've come back from, come home from work, and a grueling day at the factory, a boring day in the office, a challenging day in the classroom, stressful day in the surgical theater, whatever. Put this on and you'll be in a better mood afterwards. Just good, light-hearted, fun hard rock slash classic rock. Up next, another highlight of the VCLT, Wheels of Steel by Saxon. A new wave of British heavy metal classic. You have some really good songs on here. My favorite song is probably 747, as far as I remember. That's what it's called. That's a great one. It's very melodic. You have the title track is kind of a boogie rocker with an AC/DC feel to it. Very enjoyable, hard rocking, old school, traditional, authentic heavy metal album. And Biff sounds like Biff, as Biff should. And up last, another highlight, the second album by Magnum. Melodic hard rock, nice catchy vocal lines. You got some keyboard stuff every now and then. You got some nice melodic guitar riffs, and it borders on progressive every now and then. So this was awesome too as well, very enjoyable. So there you go, an awesome VCLT ranging from Fish, covering classic rock and prog rock songs, over Magnum's second album, very melodic, progressive hard rock, and Wrathchild UK is just light-hearted classic rock and sleazy hard rock to a Welsh black metal bands sounding very different from one another, and some brutal death metal and grindcore. So that's been a musical journey. So thanks to Rock and Metal Plus for sending me off on this journey. It was an awesome VCLT. I had great fun listening to all of these releases. Go and check out Rock and Metal Plus. Like I said, great guy, awesome dude. Thanks for watching.